Babe, thank you so much for saying yes to my proposal. I'm so excited to marry someone as wonderful as you.
If I didn't say yes, who else would have married you? I have no idea how you'd live without me. We were destined for each other. Soulmates.
You're right. I couldn't live without you. I don't think I'd survive a day. I'm so used to raising and taking care of others that I forget to take care of myself. I think people like me can't survive on their own in the real world. When I first met you, I knew that you were the one. Now I can't picture my life without you in it. I don't know who else I would ask to marry me if you weren't here. We really are a great match. It seems like you've thought about this as much as I have.
Exactly. We are perfect for each other. And I think we're pretty cute together. Am I right? The idea that we couldn't get married if it weren't for us meeting each other is a little silly, but I'm excited. My parents are excited for me, but they don't necessarily want me to get married yet. I mean, I'm still in university. It's not that we don't have any life skills, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. That's why they told me to wait a little while until we get married.
That makes sense. I want to wait until you're finished with school and graduate anyways. Then we can find a date. I can wait for you. I would wait for you forever. Until then, I'll keep working hard to save money for us.
Okay. I'm excited, Dexter. Let's live a good life together, okay? The day I said yes to Dexter's proposal, I was so excited. I never thought that I would find someone who truly loves me, but I am so grateful to have found him. I'm the big sister of 2 younger brothers and 1 sister. So growing up, I had a very strong way of speaking. I constantly had to help take care of my siblings, and that meant trying to control them when my parents were gone. If you ever saw me in action, you would know that I was a strict older sister. I'm sure my brothers would describe me as being mean, too. After growing up being so strict, going into high school and university was hard. I found that the way I spoke was harsh and straight to the point. I found myself offending others without meaning to. My interactions were good, but the words that came out were perceived as being mean. Over time, I softened and learned how to speak in a much kinder way. When Dexter saw me like that, he started to have a crush on me. He was the only person who ever liked me despite my many flaws. Other people preferred my best friend over me. She was tall and beautiful, and she seemed to be every man's ideal type. When people met me, they said I acted too much like a boy, that I acted just like my brothers. When I went into university, I was a lot nicer than I had been in high school, but I tried to keep to myself. Then, there was one person who brought me flowers and said, "I like you." Of course, it was Dexter. At first, when he confessed his feelings for me, I was nervous because no one had ever confessed to me before. But it felt natural. I smiled and laughed. He smiled, and then from there, we started dating. It was like we were destined for each other. During my last term of school, he proposed to me and I said yes. Now I've graduated from university with my nursing degree, but we still are not planning on getting married yet. First, we need to find a date and a venue, and before we can do that, we need to save enough money for the wedding. I really want to get married, and I'm very excited. In addition, I want to find a good job as a nurse, so I'm trying to apply to a ton of places. It's been a very busy time, and now I'm trying to juggle all of the applications. It's even worse because I decided to wait until after graduation to start applying for work. I want to get married, but I have no intention of giving up my dream career. Dexter has been very respectful and told me he can wait as long as I need. I told him that once I find a good job and I'm settled in, we can find a date for the wedding and start planning everything. Because of how much he's been working and how much I've been doing, we haven't been able to see each other as often. I told him that in my opinion, the wedding ceremony isn't all that important. I think we should go ahead and fill out our marriage registration form as well as start living together first. Then, once we have enough money saved up, we can have a nice ceremony to celebrate with friends and family.
I understand. It's her decision after all. We have to respect it. You two need to focus on things more important than a big wedding ceremony, and it's a good idea to save your money. Besides, Even though I don't condone living together before marriage, I can understand why you want to do it. To make sure you're a good match and all.
Mr. White, thank you so much for being so understanding.
Back in my day, that sort of thing would be considered very inappropriate, but times are changing. The same is true for not having a big ceremony. At first, we were sad to hear you two didn't want to do anything, but it's more common with your generation to do less anyways. We just want you two to be happy. Is there any reason for us to object? I don't think so. Right, honey?
I guess not. Our son is happy, and that's all that matters. It doesn't seem like Mrs. White is really happy about all of this.
Besides, you just graduated, didn't you? Now you're looking for jobs, I presume.
Yes, I'm applying to a couple of hospitals nearby. I found a really great hospital. I heard that you can go in there with no experience and build a great career. Plus, they pay their nurses really well, so I'll be able to save up a lot of money faster. I'm sure we can finish saving up for the wedding quickly.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I knew you were a smart cookie. I'm sure you will do great in that setting. Don't worry about anything. I'm confident that Dexter will be able to take care of you.
Thank you so much, Mr. White.
Come over here and sit down for a minute.
Oh, but I haven't finished washing all of the dishes yet. Let me finish these up first, and then I'll come have a seat.
What's so important about the dishes right now? They can wait. Don't do them, and come sit down like I told you to.
Okay, I was just trying to do what you asked, but I will save it until later.
I didn't share all my feelings when my husband was there. You're seriously going to move in with my son before you get married? If that's the case, then you need to get married right away. A small ceremony is fine, but I cannot allow you two to move in together without getting married first. It's completely unacceptable.
I think you might have misunderstood me before. We are still planning on getting married soon. We just want to go sign the marriage registration form and get rings for each other. We're waiting on the ceremony for financial reasons, and honestly, I am so exhausted from my last semester of school that I need to rest a bit.
You two are so annoying. You and my son are both so annoying. I guess there's nothing you can do about it. Are you both really lacking passion and modesty?
Passion? Modesty I get. Why bring up passion?
Yeah, passion. If you two really loved each other, you wouldn't be so worried about the money and you'd be more focused on the wedding. You need to get married immediately. You can't just wait. What kind of woman lives with a man before they get married? It's disgusting and disgraceful. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you two just get married, this won't be an issue. We can pretend this never happened.
No, it's not like that, Mrs. White. We already said we are going to sign the marriage registration form. We will be legally married. We're just not having a wedding ceremony yet. Weddings are extremely expensive. I mean, think about all the catering, the venue, the flowers, our clothes, and so much more. We both want to save money right now, and since I just finished school, I'm fairly broke.
Don't worry about that. We can help you out if we need to. Or you can just get a loan. Do you not care about romance and the act of showing true love? Oh, you get to wear a lovely white dress, and then you get to stand in front of the person you love. He gets teary-eyed when he sees you because he's just so happy to be with you. You also get to buy beautiful rings with shiny diamonds. Doesn't that sound nice to you? Do you not care about any of this?
To me, that stuff isn't the most important part of getting married. Wedding ceremonies cost a lot of money, and that's all I can really think about. I'm already in a lot of debt. Why would I add on to that with my wedding?
Oh my God! Are you always this negative? I guess my son's the only one who cares about romance in this relationship. Having a daughter-in-law like you sounds miserable. I think we'd all be better off without you.
Excuse me?
I'm telling you the truth. You are so different from my son. He is kind and obedient, and you are nothing but a loud-mouthed, bumbling fool. This is what I've been trying to tell him from the start. I want my son to be with someone more feminine who actually listens to her elders. Someone who dreams about their wedding day. I have always dreamed of having that kind of daughter-in-law. You act like a man. You are always so blunt and never have good manners. You even look and dress like a man, too. You need to have more style and act in a much kinder way, dear, or else you're going to end up dying alone. Even your nails are dirty. What have you been doing? Chewing them. They are so short.
Oh, well, I'm a nurse, so I'm not supposed to have long or painted nails. It could hurt someone, and if the paint chips, it could cause an issue. I don't think I want to risk the safety of my patients because of my nails. The reason I speak openly with you is because your husband told me to do so. He is open with me, so I am open with him. We trust each other, and I feel safe enough to speak my mind in front of him. But now I see that you don't feel the same way, so maybe I made a mistake in how honest I've been with you.
You feel like you can be honest with him, but not me. Oh my. I am never going to have the daughter I dreamed of. It's impossible. You're so innocent, aren't you? You think you've done nothing wrong and you're perfect. There's nothing you need to change. Oh my. How sad that little head of yours must be without any thoughts in it.
What on earth are you talking about? While Mr. White seems to enjoy my company and thinks I'm a good person, his wife couldn't be more opposite. She believes that because I'm not as feminine as she had hoped, that I don't care about romance and I will make Dexter's life miserable. She said I'm too manly, too blunt, and that I don't even look or act like a woman, whatever that means. Every day that I see her, she compares me to other women, to people she believes are better than me and that I should strive to become. Some mothers-in-law go shopping with their child's future spouse. Some mothers-in-law take their kids on vacation or nice trips together. After hearing rumors his mother started spreading about me, Dexter came to me and ranted. He apologized for her behavior and even told her off while his dad was there. The problem is not when we all are together, but when we are alone. You might be thinking, how do I feel about all of this? If I'm being honest, I haven't thought much about it. I don't really care what Mrs. White says because she's wrong. The things she says are nonsense and she's just trying to get a rise out of me. I haven't felt hurt when she compares me to other people or when she says she wishes she could get her son to leave me. I just think it's funny she's going so far to try to hurt my feelings. I know I'm blunt and I've always been a tomboy, so she's technically not wrong. As a nurse, I'm going to have to put up with a lot of entitled people. When I was training in school and working at the clinic, I got to experience this kind of personality numerous times. You have to know how to stand up for yourself in this industry. If not, you might get bullied or belittled by nurses who have been practicing for longer and doctors who think they're better than you just because they went to school for longer. For all of my university, I was never able to take a rest. I worked multiple jobs to pay for everything, and I never had time to stop moving. That made me a pretty strong person who knows how to prioritize various things in my life. I'm pretty adaptable, so although I don't like Dexter's mom, I'm okay with acting slightly different around her. As long as I can keep working towards my dream career, I don't care if I have to act a little differently every once in a while. Besides, Dexter always knows how to cheer me up. Once I settle into a good position, I'll be ready to finalize everything. Then we can think about having kids without worrying about my maternity leave or the ability to afford childcare. Even after I have a child, I know Mrs. White will never be satisfied by me.
What did I do wrong in my life to be cursed with all of this bad news? All I asked for was a beautiful granddaughter, but I'm cursed to have a stupid grandson. What did I do to deserve this?
Mrs. White, why on earth are you acting like this? When I told you we were having a son, you sounded excited at first.
No, I was not excited. I always wanted to spoil a cute little girl. Do you know how excited I was? How could you do this to me? I grew up raising only boys. I needed to take care of a girl for once. We would be able to do our hair, paint our nails, and go shopping. I can't do any of that if the kid is a boy.
Why are you blaming me? Can't you just be happy for us for once? Besides, that's quite sexist of you. Maybe our son will want to have his hair done and his nails painted. You can take boy shopping too, you know. It's okay to be excited about the idea of having a granddaughter, but it's not okay for you to put our future son down.
I don't care what you say. It's your fault he's a boy. If you did what I told you to, it would have been a girl.
That is all just a crazy tradition that doesn't really work. It's been disproved by doctors.
Huh! I'm sick of being surrounded by boys. I need some feminine energy in my life.
Mrs. White, you need to calm down and take some deep breaths. There is no need for you to react like this. It's incredibly inappropriate and I will not stand for it. Stop complaining about it and just be quiet for once. Can't you just sit there and look pretty? That's what you said the womanly thing to do would be.
How dare you say that to me? I'm always pretty. Don't tell me to be quiet. I will speak anytime I like. I hate you. You are insufferable. Your son is going to be just as awful as you. I just know it. This is so annoying. Are you okay?
Why wouldn't I be?
My wife has been giving you a hard time the past few days. I heard her screeching at you earlier. You know she hasn't been doing anything the past few days, don't you? She keeps complaining about the baby. I don't want you to feel bad about any of that.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not taking it personally. I am a bit worried that she's been so stressed about it, though. I mean, she shouldn't be so concerned about the gender of our baby. She still doesn't like it when I explain myself or talk back to her. She constantly accuses me of not listening to her when she's the one who won't listen to us. I think that no matter what I say, she won't like my son.
Don't worry about it too much, Juliet. Once the baby is born, she is going to be extremely excited and spoil him. If she really is rude to him and you, I will make sure she knows it's not acceptable. I'm worried about her too, but I promise you I'll try to keep her under control.
Thank you for being so kind to me, Mr. White. You know that she doesn't hurt my feelings, don't you? I'm tougher than I look. She really wanted a perfect, feminine, and obedient daughter-in-law, but I'm the complete opposite of what she wanted. I know she's disappointed with who I am, and I understand why, but I think it's starting to get out of hand.
What are you talking about? Do you know how relieved I am that my son ended up with a woman like you? You know that Dexter is shy and lets people walk all over him. I'm glad that he found someone to stick up for him and stand by his side.
Wow, thank you for saying that.
He's been struggling a bit lately. I'm sure you know how forgetful he's been getting.
I know! The other day he left for work and forgot his phone, so he had to come back at lunch, and then he misplaced his wallet.
That sounds just like him. Thank you for taking care of him. I know it helps to have someone around to help keep him on track. You two are a good fit. I know you two still have a spark between you. His mom has been saying that you lack romance and passion, but I have to disagree. I swear, she's going to kill me with all of her crazy antics. I know she's been angry ever since the wedding ceremony back in October. She keeps saying it should have been fancier and you should have gotten a nicer dress. There's always something to complain about. I thought your wedding was wonderful, and for the record, you looked amazing. It was you and Dexter's decision, not my wife's, and I don't think she understands that.
She has that type of personality. I'm sure she would be much happier if I were more her style.
People of different ages value things differently, and that's okay. I thought everything you guys did was very cute, and I think you're a great person. But my wife continues to say otherwise. I think you're sweet and smart and very cute.
Oh, my! Thank you so much. That is very nice of you to say. That makes me feel better. At least one of you likes me.
You're very kind, too. I always love chatting with you. If you ever have any issue, please let me know. I can help you resolve it.
Thank you so much. I will make sure to tell you if anything happens. A few months later, when the baby was born, Mrs. White continued to say that my son was ugly and she was disappointed. After a little while, she's finally started to show a little interest in his life. Mr. White has tried to get her to stop, but she just won't listen. He told me that our son looks just like me and Dexter and that he's happy for us. Even though she's dissatisfied, Mrs. White hasn't said that it would be better for us to have a daughter, but she has certainly implied it. She's been ignoring me, and I know she's talking badly about me behind my back. She continues to make the situation more uncomfortable. I thought that it had gotten better for a while. At least until Dexter's sister-in-law came to town.
Mrs. White, it's so great to see you. Wow, you are looking more and more youthful each day. I can't believe how clear and smooth your skin is. Next time we should go shopping and get facials together.
Oh my! Should we? That sounds fun. I see that you're even more beautiful than the last time I saw you. Oh wow, Mom. You seem to really like Alice. You might even compliment her more than me. Of course I compliment her. It's because she looks like a model. You did a good job picking her son. I've always dreamed of a daughter-in-law like you. You have good manners, you're beautiful, and you act like a real lady. Plus, my son is in love with you. How could I not like you? I know you two love each other, but you two haven't even graduated yet. Did you really need to rush getting married? There's no need for you to get married so soon. So young. Neither of you have full-time jobs, and I know that at least Larry doesn't have a lot saved up. This isn't the right time to get married. Once you get married, you're both going to have a lot more responsibilities. First of all, you're both going to have to move in together. Neither of you have lived away from home or had to pay bills, so I know it's going to be hard for you. Honey, Larry loves this girl and said he wants to get married. Why would you try to go against his decision? Let's just believe in them. Come on, give them a chance. Let's root for their young love. Please give us your blessing, Dad. We really want to get married. We just need your help. That's all. When I start working, I promise I'll pay you back for everything. Don't say anything silly like that. Did you learn nothing from your older brother? He waited to do the ceremony because he didn't have the funds. He didn't want us to pay for it. He felt insulted when I offered to loan him the money. They waited and got married 5 months later. That was 5 months of working extra shifts to afford everything. Dad, come on. I'm not Dexter. Stop treating me like I'm him. For him, getting married wasn't an urgent thing. That's why he waited to save up the money. If it's possible, then I don't want to wait. Dad, you have the money. You know you can pay for our wedding.
He's right, Mr. White. We are in love and want to get married urgently. We can't wait to save up for it, and we need your financial support.
Okay, kids. I agree with you. We need to fund this wedding. Besides, Alice is pregnant. She's not showing yet, but once she does, her stomach will stick out and she'll get fat. She has to look beautiful on her wedding day. We have to do it before she starts showing. Then you can wait until after the baby is born to get married. If you're that worried about her stomach showing, wait to do the ceremony after the child is born. I don't get the point of getting married so soon. They haven't even been dating for that long. Honey, you're not being fair. You really don't care about her feelings, do you? If you get married after you have a baby together, it's a disgrace. It's worse than a shotgun marriage. Isn't this a shotgun marriage? Yes, but that would be worse. Dad, it's not as bad as you think. Please, this is for the sake of our future. Wouldn't it be a shame if I were to miss out on the love of my life because you didn't let us get married?
Sir, please help us out. We just need help with the wedding and finding a house.
Forget it. It's your responsibility to pay for the wedding and your house. And honey, back when Dexter and Juliet were planning on moving in together and starting their lives, you were so opposed that you refused to let me help them. They wanted to wait to get married until Juliet graduated and got a good job, and I think you two should do the same. I'm not going to pay for everything just because you want me to. You have no real-world skills yet. It's your responsibility to fund these things, and you need to learn to work for what you want. I am not going to help you right now. You need to understand that I 100% disagree with the rushing of this relationship.
I can't believe you! Because of your harsh words, our son is extremely upset. How could you act like that when you know they are pregnant and going to have a baby?
Why, is that a good excuse for me to pay for anything? As soon as they got here, they started talking about needing money and needing my help. There was no, "Hi, Dad, how are you?" They went straight to demanding that I give them money. How else was I supposed to react? They need to be more responsible for their actions. They are both only 21. They still have like 2 years left of university. And they expect me to approve of them getting married after dating for only 3 months? When did it become normal for adults to start demanding for money from their parents? I feel ashamed that my boy would act like that.
But they are so in love. You don't want to be the only person who makes them feel like they aren't meant to be together, do you? We are parents. We are supposed to love and support our children no matter what. Is this really that hard for you to accept? You should be rooting for them.
So I should be relieved they're getting married? I know you think that the only thing that matters is romance and true love, but they need to be more logical about it all. No matter how hard it gets, you shouldn't demand that someone help you or give you money. You need to ask for help first and wait for it to be offered. Demanding is very entitled. Besides, even though they say they are going to be more responsible, their actions say otherwise. I understand that they want help with the wedding, but to ask me to get them a house? That's outrageous. I don't think that's the right thing to do at all. Do you realize how entitled that is? The audacity that takes.
Why are you making them sound like bad people? They are having a hard time and just asked for some help. What's so wrong about that? You offered help to Dexter and that hard-headed Juliet, didn't you? I think you're being hypocritical.
I can't stand it when you act like this. Whatever. I'm not going to give them any money. Do you understand?
Mr. and Mrs. White, let's all calm down for a minute. I understand you're both very upset, but there's no need for you two to fight. Take a moment to think about it and speak again. You don't have to make a decision right now, you know. Oh, shut up! We don't want to hear from you. Are you really going to stick your nose into our business? I can't believe you! We were having a private conversation, and now you've inserted yourself in the situation. I didn't mean to overstep. I was just trying to help. Oh, shut up! I hate this little brat! The two of them continued to fight in front of me, so I quietly left the room and tried to mind my own business. I only came downstairs because I could hear them screaming and was wondering what happened. Apparently, Larry and Alice had saved up no money and were thinking that Larry's parents would fund everything. Mr. White already pays for Larry's school and allows him to live at home for free, so it was surprising to hear he wanted to get married and move out so soon. They are both still in university and neither of them have experienced living on their own yet. They are determined to go through with the marriage even though they haven't dated for very long. Alice is addicted to shopping and spends money frivolously, so she has nothing saved. Larry enables her by taking her on shopping sprees and spending all of his money on her. Mr. White has continued to refuse to give them money, but they keep asking. They said it's urgent and that they have to go through with it. After being unable to convince Mr. White, they started working on Mrs. White. She is convinced that she can find money to give them, even if she has to go behind her husband's back. She told them she would put all of her effort into planning the wedding. She loves Alice and believes that she is the daughter-in-law she always dreamed of. Now that she has the opportunity to have that kind of girl in her family, she's not going to let it go. She keeps telling me how much better Alice is and how nice it would be to have her in the family. It's clear that she loves Alice and will do anything to make sure she marries Larry.
Mrs. White, I know you bought the baby some beautiful clothes before, but can't you buy some more? How about just one more set? This one will look absolutely adorable on her.
Alice, you can't keep asking her to buy you stuff for the baby. Don't you feel slightly ashamed of asking for so much all the time? Besides, that is an extremely expensive brand. Why does the baby need to wear luxury clothes? I don't think there's any point in wasting that much money on clothes that your daughter will grow out of in a few months.
Juliet, why are you always trying to bring me down? You have a son, so you don't understand. All of my friends buy this brand for their kids. When kids go to school, they have to show everyone their high status, otherwise other kids will make fun of them. I guess you wouldn't know much about status, though, would you?
Alice, you literally just gave birth. Your baby isn't going to go to school for a long time. And why do you care about how your child's status is perceived? That's not important, and frankly, I think it's a bad idea to teach that to your child so young.
Mrs. White, Juliet has started up her complaints again.
What? What is she saying to you? Mrs. White, do you really want Alice to manipulate you all the time? You don't need to buy her baby any more expensive clothing. She already has plenty of outfits to wear. What's wrong with me buying my granddaughter some clothes? I guess I ought to buy her more to teach you a lesson. I don't understand why you're making such a fuss since you have a boring son. Boys don't need to wear such nice clothing. You're raising your son as if he is poor, so I doubt you know anything about fashion or style. Why does that matter? I have bought him nice things. I just don't think you need to spend hundreds of dollars on a couple of items. Even a newborn deserves good stuff. You can tell what kind of family a kid comes from based on the way they carry themselves. Besides, if she is going to get the baby nice clothes, they need to be on the pricey side. Otherwise, they won't be the best quality. Why is it so wrong for her to ask me to get her some clothes? Why do you care anyways? You might have a girly name, but you're the biggest tomboy I've ever met. Okay, Alice, which clothes did you say you wanted me to buy?
I always knew you were the best, Mrs. White.
What a day I had. What's wrong, babe? Is something wrong? No, I just had a long day is all. It's because I had to spend a few hours with your mom and Alice. What did my mom say this time? I thought she was being nice to you ever since we had James. Is that not true? Is she comparing you to Alice again? I hate it when she does that. Yes, but that's not a big issue. She hasn't really upset me with all the comparisons yet. I guess I'm used to disappointing her, so I'm glad she's preoccupied with someone else. So what's really bothering you? You let out a huge sigh when you got home, so you must be pretty annoyed by something. You know, the thing that bothers me the most is how manipulative Alice is. Don't get me wrong, I don't like your mom, but I don't like to see her being controlled by Alice. I know, she's just as bad as Larry. Did she ask my mom to buy a bunch of stuff for them again? Yes. This time she asked for luxury clothing for their baby. She constantly asks your mom to buy her stuff. Even if she's already gotten a few things, there's always something else she wants or needs. It's like nothing is ever enough. I know your dad hates it, but your mom continues to do it. I know. I asked my dad why he was so grumpy a few days ago, and he said my mom has been spending large chunks of money without speaking to him beforehand. Oh, wow. This seems to be a bigger issue than I thought. I'm starting to get a little worried. Huh? Did someone just ring the doorbell at this hour? Who could it be? Hello?
Hi, Juliet. It's me.
Oh my goodness, Mr. White. What are you doing over here so late?
I couldn't stand to be at the house anymore, so I decided to come here. Is it okay if I stay the night?
Of course you can. Would you like a cup of tea or something? It's late, but I was just getting ready to make some for myself. I tend to stay up late reading on Friday nights.
Okay, thank you. That's very kind of you to offer.
What brings you to our house so late? Wouldn't you normally be asleep at this hour?
I would, but I decided I need a night out. I finished up some work very late this evening and was nearby.
You were working this late? What have you been up to?
Oh, I have to be honest with you. No point in trying to ignore the topic. I'm so frustrated with that dumb son of mine. They continually ask me for money and to buy them more and more stuff. How many things do they really need? I can't stand it anymore. Now they want to move in with us.
What? They want to move into your house? I thought they made you pay for them to get an apartment in the city. They said it was super urgent and even signed a 1-year lease. Can they break it that easily?
We've been arguing about it for a few hours, and that's what made me come here. I didn't want them to get married or move in together so fast, and they went behind my back and did it anyways. Now they're trying to move back into my house and take over everything. They said they would pay me back for everything, but there's no way they're going to at this point. They've already racked up enough debt.
How much debt do they have?
Well, Alice has more than Larry since I paid for most of his school.
Oh, wow. How much does she have? Did she say?
I don't know either. She shouldn't have that much at her age, but apparently she's taken out a bunch of credit cards and accrued a ton of debt. I got them a place to stay, but now they can't afford to stay there. They've been trying to pay back all of her debt, but it hasn't been going well. They both came to our house this evening crying and upset because they got evicted. I'm so angry that I have to pull them out of trouble again. I know that sounds unsympathetic, but this isn't the first time they've dug themselves into a hole and expected me to pull them out of it.
Oh my goodness. How could they let it get that bad? I would have expected that at least Larry could have had some sense about the situation.
If that was the case, I don't think I'd be so frustrated. But it doesn't matter what I say because my wife continues to enable them.
I know she does. I can't believe they have that much debt this young.
I know. I didn't know how bad it was until now. I'm so mad that I can't listen to a thing they've said. It's like the more excuses they come up with, the more furious and closed off I get. This is the last straw. I'm telling you. I'm not going to be able to help them ever again. They've even been coming by our house while I'm at the office to speak to Miranda while I'm not home. Can you believe that? They have no shame. And Miranda, she's failing as a mother. She should teach her son that he needs to be more independent and responsible.
I'm totally on your side here. I can't believe that he's been going behind your back like that. How could your wife have done all that behind your back?
She knew I wouldn't budge. I've been more stubborn recently, and she knows it, but now she's been stubborn too. What did I do to raise such an entitled boy?
I don't think you did anything wrong, Mr. White. First, how about you calm down? Let's drink some tea and relax for a minute. You can rest here and we can talk about this again tomorrow. Maybe we can come to some kind of solution. Dexter is working an overnight shift today, so I'll give him a call and let him know what's going on. When he gets home and sleeps for a few hours, we can go to your house and confront your wife, Larry, and Alice, all at the same time.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. What would I do without you, Juliet?
Oh, stop. I'm not doing anything special. We can get some breakfast tomorrow morning before we go. Does that sound okay to you?
Yes, that sounds lovely. I didn't eat a proper dinner tonight because I lost my appetite.
Okay, how about we both get some rest and then we can figure this all out tomorrow?
That sounds wonderful. Thank you again, Juliet.
Anytime, Mr. White. That night, I called Dexter and told him what had happened. He was furious to hear that his brother had been taking advantage of his parents. He got home late and we went straight to bed. In the morning, I took Mr. White to get some breakfast at a cafe nearby while Dexter and I figured out what to say to his mom and brother. We planned to go back to the house later in the day where Alice, Larry, and Mrs. White were hanging out. Mr. White shared a lot with Dexter and I. Apparently, Mr. and Mrs. White have been fighting a lot lately. Recently, he told her that if she doesn't stop spending all of their money, he would file for divorce. It was horrible to hear that, but I can't say I'm surprised. I can't imagine how stressed he must have been. She has continued to act irresponsibly and has gone behind his back repeatedly. When Mr. White mentioned that he's been thinking about getting divorced, we asked him if he's told Mrs. White that yet. He said that yes, he did mention it, and her response was simply, "Are you seriously going to try to divorce me?" She sounded more bored and sarcastic than worried or sad. When Dexter and I first got married, she seemed more upset by our relationship than she did when she heard she might lose her husband. Later that morning, we went to the house to confront all of them. A big argument broke out and Dexter and Larry got into a fist fight. Mrs. White slapped Dexter and cursed at him. After that, Mr. White said that he wanted a divorce then and there. At first, Mrs. White didn't believe him and sounded very sarcastic and annoyed. But he was serious. He started packing a couple of bags with his clothes and personal items. Mr. White got into the car with me and Dexter and decided to come stay with us until the divorce is finalized. Mrs. White keeps calling us and demanding that we convince Mr. White to change his mind about the divorce, but we think it's for the best. Everyone in this family needs to learn that their actions have consequences.
The weather is so nice today, isn't it? It's nice to take leisurely strolls like this every once in a while.
I agree with you. It's been a while since I've just gone for a stroll through the city. Dexter is getting off late again tonight. He's been so busy lately. I was planning on making some pasta tonight for us. What do you think?
That sounds delicious. Could you make some garlic bread to go with it? You make the best garlic breadsticks. They taste just like Olive Garden, but better.
I'm glad you like them so much. What's wrong? Why do you look so upset?
Derek! Juliet!
Mrs. White? What are you doing here?
I was wrong. I messed up, okay? Honey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can't you forgive me? Huh? We can rekindle our flame. I still love you so much, and I know I messed up and betrayed your trust.
Mrs. White? Get up, please. You don't need to beg on your knees. Please get up and we can talk this out like normal people.
It's okay, Juliet. Let me handle this. Miranda, I don't care why you're here and I don't want to know. I don't want to ask you anything and I don't want to know how you're doing. Please just leave quietly and don't make a scene. Let me enjoy this nice day.
Please, honey, don't be like this. I'm begging you to at least hear me out. Just speak to me for a few minutes.
No, not here. This isn't my neighborhood or my house. This is Juliet and Dexter's place. I can't believe you'd bring trouble to their place. Just go home. I don't want to hear from you again.
I can't go back to the house. It's not our house anymore.
What? What are you talking about?
Because of Larry and Alice's debt, the house has been reclaimed. I don't know how they did it, but somehow they listed that house as being their address or their place, and now the government has come to take it. I don't know all the legalities. I'm not a lawyer.
How is that possible? I left the house in your name when we finalized the divorce. What do you mean that they took it away? They can't take your house for their debt. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, actually, I gave the title over to our son. I wanted them to be able to raise their daughter in a house they own without having to add any more debt to their names. I didn't know that they've been accruing even more debt. I told them if they were really struggling to pay for stuff that much, they should just apply for a loan or something, but they don't qualify. Their credit scores are horrible.
I knew that they would end up digging themselves their own graves. I could see this from the very beginning. I told you not to encourage them.
I didn't know this would happen. Every day they both ask me to buy them stuff and demand I do things for them. If I carry on like this, I'm going to have no money left for myself. I only had the house left and now it's gone. Do you know how hard it's been for me to put up with the both of them? Ever since you left, I've had to do all of this on my own.
This is all your own fault. You came here apologizing and begging me to forgive you, and now all of a sudden you're saying you couldn't have known any better? I can't believe a thing you say. You said that Alice was the perfect daughter-in-law. She was everything you ever dreamed of. I told you to stop going behind my back, but you ignored me. So you know what? You can figure this out on your own.
I'm begging you. Please help me, honey. Can't I stay with you guys for a few weeks? I have nowhere left to go. You know there's no other options for me.
I don't want you to. This isn't my house. This is Juliet and Dexter's. I asked them if I could live with them temporarily, and I know that it's already a lot for them to put up with. You are not welcome here. You always made fun of Juliet and told her she wasn't feminine or obedient enough for your standards. You can't just go back on what you said and pretend to be all nice and helpless. I won't allow it.
Honey!
Why do you keep calling me that? We're divorced. I'm not your honey anymore. And I'm planning on leaving soon. I'm not going to stay here indefinitely like I know you want to. They've both worked so hard to live on their own. They never asked for help or for any money from us. Now you're suddenly begging them to let you in? I think you should be ashamed of yourself. Go find your own romantic partner or something. Someone who can make you feel more loved than I could. And have fun supporting Larry and Alice from now on. It's clear they haven't learned their lesson and never will.
I'm telling you, I don't have any money left.
I told you that if you carried on that way, you'd blow all of our money. Luckily, I have my money in another account. The money you spent was your retirement funds. Good luck finding a way to fund your lavish lifestyle without that money. I'm done supporting you and pulling you out of the messes you create for yourself. The only thing I'll do for you is get you a warm meal. That's all you can have from me.
Good idea, Mr. White.
Juliet, help me out here. I'm your mother-in-law. We're related. You should help your family when they're in need. Why are you being so cold towards me? I said I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything I said to you. Let's put all this behind us. I'll never say a rude thing to you ever again. I regret everything I did before, and I promise to change my ways.
I'm sorry, but I can't let you manipulate me like this. You know I'm only close to people who actually care about me and who I care about. I know that you're just saying all of this for show, and I don't want to continue to fake our feelings. The only person who has treated me like their own daughter is Mr. White. You've never made me feel welcomed or accepted. I can't believe that you'll ever change.
You little brat! I knew you were a good-for-nothing fool. Hey, come back! I'm not done with you two. Please, wait.
After that, Mrs. White managed to find a motel she could afford to stay at. She started working a full-time job at a nearby grocery store. It's been tough on her because of her old age, and there's a lot she's unable to do. But apparently, she's doing okay as a cashier. She continued to contact us, but we've been trying to stay no contact as much as possible. When she does get through to us, she usually cries and begs for our forgiveness. Mr. White said for us not to contact her back and to make her learn to be more responsible for her actions. Alice and Larry have been having a very hard time. They recently gave birth to their daughter, Sarah, and oh boy, has it been tough. They could only afford a studio apartment, so it's crowded, and both of them have been fighting a lot with the stress of finances and the new baby. I think they're only now starting to realize how bad their situation is and how hard they're going to have to work to get out of it. I heard from Dexter that Alice is saying she doesn't want to start working again, so now all of the financial responsibility falls on Larry's shoulders. They can't afford to finish their degrees, and now they're struggling big time. Occasionally, they try to get in touch with us to ask for money, but we try to ignore them. I know that seems cruel or mean, but it's important for them to learn that their actions have consequences. There are plenty of people in this world with no family members to save them when they mess up. They still asked Mrs. White for money and for her to watch the baby, but now even she is refusing to give in to their demands. I know all of them are wishing that things had ended differently. As for Dexter and I, We are enjoying spending time with our son, James. He just turned 3 and is starting to go to a great preschool in the neighborhood. Mr. White has finally moved on and has even started dating again. I think he's seeing a very kind woman who immigrated here from Mexico. They seem to be happy together. Thank you for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe.